Hello friends, welcome to Manifest IAS. This is Karan George. Now this is part 2 of agriculture video. In part 1 we had discussed about important policies, structural reforms and other measures such as MSP, PM Asha, etc. which were introduced in the last few years for development of agriculture and doubling farmers' income. Now carrying that on, in part 2 we'll be discussing about the COVID-19 and impact on agriculture, the stimulus measures announced by the government, and also about the important structural changes which have been proposed by the government as part of the 20 lakh crore package under Atmanirbhar Bharat. So today we'll be discussing about COVID-19 and agriculture infrastructure fund, micro food enterprises, fisheries, National Animal Disease Control Program, animal husbandry, beekeeping, and also the structural factors such as essential commodities, marketing reforms, agriculture produce price and quality assurance, etc. Now coming to the first theme, which is what has been the impact of COVID-19 on agriculture and what have been the steps announced thus far by the government.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
So first of all, rupees 30,000 crore was made available as part of emergency working capital loans through NABARD for development of agriculture credit. So therefore, as we know that NBFCs were facing a problem, banks were facing a problem, there was problem of liquidity and what we call there was a cash shortage in the economy. So therefore, NABARD made available rupees 30,000 crore additional emergency working capital loans to rural regional banks and cooperatives to enhance credit to agriculture. So this was supposed to benefit, or this will benefit 3 crore farmers, that too mostly small and marginal farmers. The next is to ease liquidity further. Rupees 2 lakh crore credit boost was given to 2.5 crore farmers under PM Kisan Credit Card Scheme. So in the first video, we have already discussed about expansion of KCC scheme to animal husbandry and fishermen as well. So as we can see from this slide, fishermen and animal husbandry farmers will also be included in this drive. And also there was a camp based or a door-to-door approach where KCC enrollments were done on a mission mode to include 2.5 crore farmers over and above the existing farmers. So this is supposed to enhance agriculture credit by rupees 2 lakh crore. Now coming to the next one, that is during the lockdown, MSP operations were going on, and the government claims that MSP purchase of amount of 74,300 crores happened during the lockdown period. So how did this happen and what are the other measures? First of all, PM Kisan Fund transfer was made of 18,700 crores. PM Fasal Bima Yojana claim of 6,400 crores. So during lockdown, even the demand for milk reduced by 20 to 25%. So in order to support the milk industry, the dairies or the cooperative dairies such as Mother Dairy, Amul, Nandani, etc. were purchasing extra milk, which is, we can see from the fourth point, 560 lakh liters per day procured by cooperatives against daily sale of 360 lakh liters per day. So therefore, 111 crore liter extra was procured, ensuring payment of 4,100 crores. And also to support all these activities and especially the liquidity front, a new scheme to provide interest subvention at 2% per annum to dairy cooperatives was launched for 2020-21. An additional 2% per annum interest subvention on prompt repayment was also made. So this will also unlock 5,000 crore of additional liquidity, benefiting 2 crore farmers. Then as part of stimulus measures, what did the government announce is about the vision for doubling farmers' income. So therefore, under this, first is Agri Infrastructure Fund, under which 1 lakh crore rupees Agriculture Infrastructure Fund will be made for better infrastructure development at the farm level. See, I'm not saying APMC, it's about farm level. So what does this involve? It talks about farm gate aggregation points, primary agriculture cooperative societies, farmer producer organizations, agriculture entrepreneurs, startups, etc. So in the first video, we had discussed about FPOs and agriculture entrepreneurs, etc. So this is about aiding these people in making better infrastructure, which is for storage, transportation, etc. for better marketing and better price realization. Then it also talks about impetus for development of farm gate and aggregation point, affordable and financing viable post-harvest management infrastructure. So that is also for better marketing, storage, etc. Then it talks about formulation of micro food enterprises, which was the second part of the stimulus. So 10,000 crore scheme for formalization of micro food enterprises. So here what does micro mean? Micro here means very small. So the scheme promotes vision of PM, which is vocal for local with global outreach. So unrecognized micro food enterprises units need technical upgradation to attain FSSAI standards. So this 10,000 crore fund will help them attaining some standards for food standards, building brands, marketing, etc. So this scheme is expected to help 2 lakh MFEs to attain the above goals. So existing micro food enterprises, FPOs, self-help groups, etc. can also be supported using these funds at the farm gate level. Importantly, under the PM's call of vocal for local, it talks about a cluster-based model where the famous things of that area will be promoted, such as mangoes in UP, kesar in JNK, bamboo shoots in Northeast, chili in Andhra, lychee in Bihar, etc. Then what are the expected outcomes from this formalization of micro food enterprises? First is improved health and safety standards, integration with retail markets, and also improved income of the farmers. So this can also be important for tapping the export potential of these products. Then it talks about fisheries sector. So under this, rupees 20,000 crores was given for fisheries under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. So what is this about? Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana was launched to fulfill critical gaps in fisheries value chain, which is again integrated, sustainable, inclusive development of marine and inland fisheries. So value chain is nothing but from fishing to harbors to cold chains to markets, etc. So as we can see the breakup, 11,000 crore is for activities in marine, inland fisheries and agriculture, and 9,000 crore is for infrastructure such as fishing harbors, cold chains, market, etc. Then it talked about cage culture, seaweed farming, to development of traceability, laboratory networks, etc. to ensure a good value chain traceability. So value chain and supply chain will be organized better. Then it talks about ban period to support fishermen, because there are a lot of times when fishermen are not able to go to sea because of the breeding season, or the ban on fishes happen because of the ecological sustainability of that area. During that ban, fishermen need some support. So it talks about providing support to fishermen during the times of banning of the fishing. So therefore it talks about personal and boat insurance. It talks about incremental fish production, which is additional fish production of 70 lakh tons to be targeted over the next 5 years. Talks about employment of additional 55 lakh persons, doubling exports, and also it talks about additional focus on islands, Himalayan states, Northeast, and aspirational districts. Now coming to the next pillar, which is National Animal Disease Control Program. So under this, as we had talked about in the first slide, there was emphasis on eradication of foot and mouth disease and brucellosis. So it was launched with a total outlay of 13,343 crore. So we have to ensure 100% vaccination. So total 53 crore animals will be targeted under this scheme, and till date 1.5 crore cows and buffaloes have been tagged and vaccinated. So further under livestock, there is a provision for 15,000 crore fund, that is National Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund, to support the incremental production of dairy, validation and cattle feed infrastructure for livestock sector in India. Then we talk about promotion of herbal cultivation. So as we know, in the times of coronavirus, there's a demand for herbal products now, and there is a demand for sustainable products now, especially after the virus. So National Medicinal Plants Board has supported 2.25 lakh hectares under cultivation of medicinal plants. So the target is to cover 10 lakh hectares to cover herbal cultivation in the next 2 years with the outlay of rupees 4,000 crores. So this will lead to income generation of rupees 5,000 crores for farmers. It will also network with regional mandis for medicinal plants. And lastly, National Medicinal Plant Board will bring 800 hectares area by developing a corridor of medicinal plants along the banks of the Ganga on both sides. So therefore this is also important, that which is the important scheme along the river Ganga. So we can say National Medicinal Plants Board is taking up the cultivation of herbal plants along the river bank of Ganga. Then for ecological sustainability, beekeeping initiative was an important pillar. To support beekeeping initiative, a small fund of rupees 500 crores, although small but very important for ensuring sustainability of farming in India. So this will help in increasing yield and quality of crops through pollination, and also it will provide honey and wax products for boosting livelihood and income support for farmers. So how will the government implement this scheme? It will be related to infrastructure development again, such as integrated beekeeping, development centers, collection, marketing, storage, post-harvest and validation facilities, etc. Also, it talks about traceability again, trust on women, and also quality check on bee breeders and nuclear stock. So again, so common theme here is standards, traceability, etc. in order to enable better retail posturing and also exports in the future. So this will lead to increase in income for 2 lakh beekeepers and quality honey to consumers as well. Now, an important pillar was TOP scheme, or which is tomato, onion and potato scheme. Now, top to total simply means that the top scheme will be enhanced to cover all the products. So therefore, Operation Green, which was initially under tomato, onion, potato, will be extended from to all fruits and vegetables. So what is this about? It enables supply chains have been disrupted because of the lockdown. So therefore, there was a distress sale by reduction of prices for perishable fruits and vegetables. So top is about ensuring that farmers have enough support for better storage, marketing, price, etc. for tomatoes, onions and potatoes. So now this scheme is being extended on an experimental basis to all fruits and vegetables. So what are the features? 50% subsidy will be given on transportation, 50% subsidy on storage, including cold storages. So this, as we discussed, this is a pilot scheme for 6 months. So what is the expected outcome? Better price realization to farmers, reduced wastage, affordability, etc. Then lastly, we come to the important changes which are structural in nature and very important in nature. In fact, the agriculture economists such as Gulati have been calling for these changes from the past 20 years. So first is amendments to Essential Commodities Act. Even the Economic Survey talks about the benefits of amending the Essential Commodities Act. So first of all, Essential Commodities Act was made in 1955 in the days of scarcity. So need to enable better price realization for farmers by attracting investment. Now because of stock limits, because of the repeated use of Essential Commodities Act, people were afraid to invest money in storage, marketing, etc. Even the producers were not having confidence in agriculture because the government was very ad hoc in implementing Essential Commodities Act. So therefore, agriculture foodstuffs including cereals, edible oils, oilseeds, pulses, onions, potato to be deregulated. Therefore, there is a hope for better investment climate or better ease of doing business in agriculture itself. Then stock limits to be imposed under very exceptional circumstances like national calamities, famines with surge in prices, etc. And lastly, no such stock limit will apply to processors. So this is very important. No stock limit will be applied to processors or value chain participants under the new act. Now coming to the next pillar, which is agriculture marketing reforms. First of all, farmers till now were bound to sell produce only to licensees and APMCs. Such restriction of sale is not there for any industrial purpose. So now there was a hindrance because APMCs were acting like a clog in the supply chain. So there was even problem of not having MSP implementation on a true basis on an all India level. So that led to less price realization for the farmers. So now a central law will be formulated to provide adequate choice to farmer to sell produce at attractive prices, barrier-free interstate trade, and also framework for e-trading under ENAM. Then lastly, we come to agriculture produce price and quality assurance program, where see agriculture produce price is and quality assurance is nothing but that the buyer should get the appropriate quality and the farmer should get the appropriate price, and they should be pre-decided so that there is no uncertainty in agriculture in India. So as we discussed in the first part of agriculture about contract farming. So in other words, you can also call this as contract farming laws. So first of all, farmers lack an enforceable standard mechanism for predicting prices of crops at the time of sowing. So if there is contract farming, they'll be knowing exactly what price will the buyer buy this product from them at the time of harvest. Then private sector investment in provision of inputs and know in agriculture sector is hindered because they cannot tie up with the farmers directly. So the type of inputs they want, the type of quality they want cannot be ensured. They have to go and find it and therefore there's a supply and demand mismatch under this policy. Then Coming to facilitative legal framework will be created to enable farmers for engaging with processors, aggregators, large retailers, exporters, etc. And lastly, risk mitigation for farmers, assured returns, quality standards will form the integral part of the framework. So please attempt the questions in the comment section, and also please like, subscribe to the videos. Thank you.